You got a prescription for this?
Yeah.
Where is it?
Welcome, guys. I'm Blaine Blast. Join me as we journey across the land of Eternum to size up demons, trek vast landscapes, and venture into the very depths of hell in this action combat open world mmorpg. Have you ever wanted to turn on an MMO and just run? Like, forever? Just endlessly? And when you finally reach your destination, you kill a monster or two, touch a bag of grain, just run all the way back to where you came from? New World is a massively multiplayer online role-playing game developed and published by Amazon Games, released on September 28, 2021 to the Windows PC platform. The game is set in the mid-17th century where players colonize a fictional land called Eternum, meant to emulate mid-17th century America, more commonly known as the Age of Discovery. This time period encompasses the European empires of Spain, Portugal, Russia, France, Britain, the Netherlands, Denmark, and Sweden, exploring and colonizing what is now modern-day America. In your adventures across the vibrant land of Eternum, you will come across many different ethnicities of people as well as culturally significant lore, usually in the form of notes left behind by the explorers or colonizers. The land of Eternum is rife with corruption in the form of what I can really only describe as zombies. In Eternum, people never die for some reason, but turn lost or corrupted. Once lost or corrupted, they assume the form of the undead. This phenomena seems to be the crux in which our story will revolve, with the background being the Age of Discovery. So buckle up for the history and supernatural wonder that New World has to offer. Because trust me, the stuff it doesn't offer are myriad and it'll probably end up pissing you off in the end.
There's no rats!
Look at that rat!
The stories you've heard, they don't tell the whole truth. The island is indeed the place of legend. There's power and vast riches as well. But those who've gone before you have simply vanished, never heard from again. I saw the horror, the madness that overcame the crew. It was beyond any evil the world has ever known. How I survived, I do not know.
So the character creator, well, it's a character creator. The hair and facial hair are not gender locked, and that's the only thing special I can really say about this character creator. Basically, you pick one of the prearranged faces, some hair, and we're off. Definitely not something to write home about. So basically what happened to us is we were part of a pirate crew and we sailed too close to the Isle of Eternum where our ship was capsized by unknown power while most of our crew turned lost, save us. We wash up on the island next to our captain and are greeted with an absolutely awesome combat tutorial. Yes, please, more like that. Have me learn by doing the thing. Don't just hit me with a wall of text. And wow, how dynamic was this specific instance of tutorial, right? The presentation of that tutorial will certainly stick with me throughout my MMO career and lead me to many comparisons where I hold games to the standards set by New World Combat Tutorial. Crazy.
Search the beach! If we don't recover the box...
And that's not even to mention the combat. Oh, boy, the combat is fun. There's no lock-on, no tap targeting, nothing like that. In Eternum, if you can't aim, then you just can't play. I love this, and it feels like you're really fighting these guys.
What have you done? The source It was my destiny to claim that.
I can also see the skill slots, and there's only 3? Wow. Now that's what I like to see. Don't get me wrong, I love having 3 different skill bars in certain MMOs, but man, does it feel comprehensive. When you can only see 3 skills on your bar, they gotta be quite significant if you only got 3, right? Either that or Amazon Games has no fucking idea what they're doing, which I'm not even gonna lie, would make complete sense, but I'm hoping it's the former. So we press deeper into the island where we encounter a captain who supposedly died in the beginning, but I guess he just didn't and he's been transformed into a lost. We cut him down in a seriously awesome duel where he wields a flaming broadsword in one hand. And the optics of this scene are just badass, with an ensorcelled giant demon standing in a hellish pit of death. After a scenario like that, I could see how players would be super enticed to continue.
I don't know what the hell you feeding him, but he is too damn big!
So with Captain Thorpe down, we can finally start moving deeper inland to meet a sentry for a nearby settlement.
You're actually looking quite healthy, all things considered.
We ask him for food, to which he replies that he hasn't any, but gives us the recipe to craft ourselves a knife that we may hunt our own. We gather a few materials, craft our knife, and get after some wild boar indigenous to the coast. We come across a bit of weaponry strewn across the starting area for us to try out. This game features a classless character system which will let you equip any weapon at any time. Its effectiveness dictated by how you allocate your attributes, which consist of strength, dexterity, intelligence, focus, and constitution, each providing their own unique buff once allocation milestones are reached. Each weapon type features 2 different skill trees for you to fill, providing you 2 or more different playstyles depending on how you mix them. After we cook our meal, Watcher Reese informs us that all of our crewmates have become lost or corrupted and now scour the wreckage site, so we offer to cull a few of them. While exploring the wreckage, we come across another crash site with a very spicy muy caliente, Grace O'Malley, popping off shots from her blunderbuss at the lost and corrupted. She's not about to go down easy.
Hey mate, can you give a girl a hand here? Roger's having me pinned down.
We rescue our new friend who suggests we partner up and make some gold in these times of confusion. So of course we say yes. She's really our only friend at this point, and I gotta say I'm glad to have her because I was feeling right lonely given our current circumstances.
If you want to partner up, I'd split the loose 70-30. Or what the hell, 60-40 even.
Grace says she knows of some of the shipwrecks where there's valuable plunder to be had, so she sends us to retrieve. After retrieving the valuables, Grace agrees to meet us in the nearest settlement so that we can turn our treasures into gold.
Don't worry about me burning you on the loot. You did me a favor and I'm good for it.
I get the feeling Grace will be with us for a good little turn. We report back to the Watcher, Sentry Reese, who's crouched outside a cave enshrouded in an evil red storm. The Watcher says we need to stop it right now, and for whatever reason we volunteer to go in and investigate.
Go then, but be quick about it. Look for the source of the storm and destroy it.
The cave is infested with a lost demon centered around an archdemon priest fight who seems to be performing some sort of evil ritual which is causing the storm. Either we took that guy down pretty damn easily, or there was some other adventurer helping us from a distance. Either way, it's fine with me, and we can head back to the Watcher Reese.
Nothing like this has happened in the 300 years I've been here.
During our adventure so far, there's been a voice in our head stating all sorts of ominous things, and it appears she has a story for us.
Come closer. It is time you know the whole truth. This island has always guarded the promise of paradise. Humanity cast out, deemed unworthy of such blessings. But I did not come here seeking paradise. I came for answers. Redemption after a life of weakness and suffering. And I found a truth that disproved everything I had been taught. I tasted the knowledge forbidden to us at creation, and I saw the vision of humanity's true potential. I knew then, I must correct this ancient injustice and restore the power which is rightfully ours. The heart of the mountain now beats strong with this purpose. After a century of preparation, our campaign has begun. The island's townships already fall before the might of our armies. The only thing I had not foreseen is you. You, who have stolen the gift meant for me. And now your soul will pay the price. For I will not stop until I have seized back the destiny stolen from us and brought true freedom to the world, both old and new.
Now that was a badass cinematic, and wow, that's a badass villain right there. She looks savage. And can we address this voice acting here?
Did you see my court? Huh? The wilds of Eternum have never been safe. But the roads? Never seen anything like this before today. Vicious bulls came out of nowhere, ate all me truffles.
I'm all about it. Please, more of that, Amazon. That's exactly what I expect from a company who has no excuse. We finally reached the first settlement, the town of Corinth. Supposedly, they're experiencing their own problems in the form of a famine, which I'll admit is confusing considering everyone is immortal. But I guess immortality won't stave off hunger.
But eternal life on Eternum means eternal trouble.
We check in at the town's inn, which will allow us free teleports back to town from wherever we might be, set against a 15-minute interval. We actually find Grace here waiting with the coin she promised us and bids us to inspect the trade post and storage facilities.
Where have you been hiding? I was afraid I'd have to go back to the beach and search for you. Not that I wanted to stay here, mind you.
The trade post is exactly what it sounds like. Players can post their items for amounts of gold of their choosing. How storage works is each town has its own storage facility. They are connected, but not in the way you might think. Each town's storage facility has its own storage capacity, and you can access any of them from whichever one you're at already, provided you've actually visited that town before. So the town of Corinth was based off a region in the state of Mississippi, the Mississippi Hills, which was often referred to as the Gateway City with its historic structures and oak-lined streets. Leadership around the town seems to think that the person causing this famine is a parliamentary figure of the town, the Speaker of the Winds, Francis Turner. Of course, when we speak to Francis, he says, "Oh no, it was someone else." And he tells us of a sorceress whom the town pays tribute so that she can provide prosperity to the town in a way that I do not fully understand, but nonetheless, Francis swears they paid it.
Some people are claiming this was the work of the sorceress Medea.
We go around helping a bit to call some of the lost and saving some survivors when we come across one of the people being blamed by Francis for the famine, a druid.
Oh, does he now? Is it that old blowhard Francis Turner? I'll be having a word with Mr. Turner then.
She basically says that Francis is bullshit before we come across another citizen of the land who says that Francis just outright never sent the tribute at all.
The speaker insists he sent Medea's tribute, which means it would have been carted off by the Iron Rose mercenaries. They're supposed to be protecting these farms as well, but I haven't seen hide nor hair of them.
Amazon Games took basically 3 years to add a goddamn toggle aim switch for a game that has no targeting system, which just baffles me. So now I want to test my aim, because it's different with the bow now since I won't have to hold the right mouse button. So I shoot at a man's. I'm not sure if I hit him or not, and I really hope I didn't because I was just shooting curious shots. What do you guys think? Did I hit that guy? If so, I'm sorry, random New World mans. The game now wants to show us how to make a camp. When you craft a camp, you can then respawn back at that camp should you fall in battle, granted your camp is within certain range of your death. A useful tool when venturing into dangerous territory. These landscapes feel very natural in a way that you could imagine it actually existing, a bit like the landscapes from Deliverance Kingdom Come, with a bit more color and vibrance. Great game, by the way, that. We discover a note from the sorceress Medea, who's in charge of blessing the town of Corinth, where she says that the speaker actually did not pay the tribute and she's getting pissed off.
The tribute for the season has not arrived on schedule, and, as you well know, this is a breach of my contract with the Iron Rose.
Now, I might not understand fully exactly what's going on here, but what I do understand is this sorceress lady sounds like a tyrant who's extorting the town of Corinth instead of aiding them in return for tribute, as she threatens to appear there to deliver consequences. We hearth back to town and let them know about the speaker's betrayal and Medea's threats.
If Medea is responsible for this curse, I fear it will only get worse. That sorceress is ruthless in a way these people simply do not understand.
Francis Turner, the town speaker, denies all claims when confronted with this information. All of a sudden, it was the pirates. Oh, okay, it was the pirates that took the tribute. Right. So it's time to go and get it back.
As I've said countless times now, we've sent the damn tribute. We can't always guarantee the caravan's safety. And if that vicious sorceress wants a war over this, we should give her one.
We run in loosing arrows in order to take back the tribute that seems to actually have been stolen by pirates, before we find a note from Mr. Francis Turner, the town speaker.
Captain Doughty, I know we haven't always seen eye to eye in the past, but I would invite you to join me. I know you and your crew have sought to acquire the tribute in seasons past. I would invite you to make the attempt once again, with the assurance that the Iron Rose will not be on hand.
Mr. Francis had tipped off the pirates' captain in order so that they could ambush the tribute before it actually reached Medea the sorceress. Within Francis's note is tell of some sort of verdant gemstone that we no doubt need to go and get. We arrive at the location of our first stone to solve a simple puzzle so that we can retrieve the stone. We get back to town and confront the guard captain, who was also in on the scheme, and it doesn't take much to get him to rat on his partner in crime, the Speaker of the Winds, Francis Turner.
Nothing. Ah, merde! Fine. None of this was my idea, you realize, eh? Francis convinced me that we would both get rich of this plan. I was a fool to listen to him.
Once Francis confesses to everything, we can head out and gather the remaining verdant gemstones.
Well, I guess this is it, isn't it? Francis Turner's corruption exposed. I bet everyone's overjoyed.
We approach an old ruin atop a beautiful vista and do a small jumping puzzle to get atop and restore the gemstone to its rightful place. So we catch back up with Grace, who tells us she's headed north for some more coin. You see, Grace is on a journey to accrue enough gold so that she could buy a ship and sail the hell away from this island.
I'll be heading up north. I hear there's a bigger town up there. More modern, much wealthier. Sounds like a place a girl can make some real coin.
We attack a few more locations for a few more gemstones so that we might lift this curse off the town of Corinth. While doing that, we come across an adventurer who seems to be in a bit of a disagreement with some lost, so we help him out. Turns out Medea, the sorceress, did in fact play part in the famine regardless of whatever Francis Turner did, so we need to deal with her as well. So with Medea down, that will end that part of the story of the town of Corinth. And I'd have to say the story was really not that bad. It wasn't that interesting outside of the betrayal aspect of it, but all in all, I'd say it's a little solid starter experience. I can think of many a game that won't have the dynamic of a human emotion at all. Many a game that includes plot, just not relatable by any player. Betrayal and anger at another human is something that we can all relate to, while on the other hand, most games feature monsters as a true villain. Me personally have never felt any sort of anger at an abhorrent abomination or any huge wild dragon. But when it comes to other humans, those feelings shine through. Now, a lot, I understand, are not a fan of this storyline, and Amazon knew that. So what they've done is added a completely new storyline for players to experience. They've completely revamped one of the starter towns, changing it into this Arthurian stronghold of bright knights and shining armor. So the same Watcher Reese we met at the beginning of the game has also reported our deeds to the town of Pridewind, where we're given respect and hailed as a hero upon our arrival.
Watcher Reese acknowledges your heroism, in which case you belong here.
The knight at the gate gives tell of how the true heir to the throne will be arriving to the kingdom, soon to be crowned.
We have just learned the true heir to the throne is returning to the region.
Our old pal Grace is also here to help us out, just as she did in the town of Corinth. For some reason, I can see this storyline walking a similar path to the last, but I guess we'll see.
Now there's a familiar face. About time you caught up.
So this settlement has the same problem as the last one of people turning lost, as well as a minister who is wont to readily confront the problem, claiming that the coming of the true blood heir will solve all.
After centuries, the true heir returns, and the royal bloodline will once again sit upon the throne.
We're sent to a local mine that's been plagued with people turning lost and speak with the foreman. She tells us that she requested aid of all knights from Pridewind to secure the farm and rescue the survivors via the minister, but he had not responded.
I sent missive after missive to the minister, and I think I said, send every knight available. Doesn't look like that's what's happening.
So we secure the mine ourselves and rescue any survivors along the way.
I thought I'd never get out of here. Thank you.
Once back in town, we tell the head knight in charge about the mine and how the minister failed to send aid. She says hell to the no and tells us to go and get his ass and bring it back here.
Minister Lochner must have been keeping such reports from reaching my desk. Would you mind seeking him out? Then perhaps we'll all talk.
We seek out the minister and ask him why he didn't send adequate aid to the mine, and he says that the arrival of the true heir is much, much more important than all that. We relay the message that he's to report in to the head of command, to which he replies, sure, I'll be there shortly.
Oh, by all means, tell her I will come as soon as I finish my vital work on behalf of the true heir, which was proceeding apace before I was interrupted.
We head over to where the lost pirates who attacked the mines came from to do a bit of investigating with Sir Payne.
You two stay here and defend our position. I will go forth and challenge the leader of the pirates to a duel. When I am victorious, I will demand that they withdraw from these shores forthwith, never to return.
I rather enjoy Sir Payne and his chivalrous nature, and if the entire game stayed within this knightly Arthurian theme, I wouldn't be mad at that at all. We head down and start busting up the pirate den, sinking supplies and destroying anchors to curtail any plans pirates had to attack Pridewind. Grace tells us that she saw some loot in there and we're gonna go and get it.
I'll tell you. But if you go in, I'm expecting some loot.
So we get into the stronghold and have a face-off with the captain who orders cannon strikes and fights with a boat anchor. This was a pretty cool fight. So we speak with a sage named Young Geezer. Pretty funny, I know. He bids us to investigate some ruins that he was forbidden to explore by the Minister Lochner.
Oh, and don't tell Lochner.
We have a chat to the minister who seems rather pressed that we have information that we aren't to tell any other person. At this point, the mystery is solved. This guy's up to something, we should just string him up right now.
Keep your secrets, but know this. Pridewind will be united as never before to honor the royal bloodline. Nothing else matters.
After investigating our ruins, we return to Grace, who tells us she saw Minister Lochner waltz directly into a crowd of lost. Apparently, the head knight in charge thinks he's gone mad, and we're to return as soon as we're done doing what we're doing so we can handle the situation.
I tailed the bastard and his entourage. They marched straight into a crowd of the lost.
When you think of MMO and the MMO genre, you immediately think of high fantasy settings, and it's not that this isn't fantasy, but I wouldn't go so far as to say it's high fantasy. There are your usual assortment of zombies and demons and whatnot, but for the most part, the setting is believable. We're not on a floating wind island or in some sort of mythical elf land or anything like that. And if you did come across any of these landmarks in this game, it's not crazy to say that you could experience the same in the real world. Save a few places, of course. The head knight in charge introduces us to a knight who was under service of the true blood heir, Sir Gawain. She says that the entire court fell lost and we're to go into the keep and investigate.
My fellow knights there fell to becoming lost as fell.
This keep is filled with fully armored and trained knights who we will have to subjugate in order to retrieve their seals. These guys are one of the newer enemies added to the game and they look really cool. This is really a knight's fortress. If I could buy an outfit so that I could look exactly like them, I would just have to do it. I don't know, maybe I'm a weeb for knights in shining armor, which I am, yeah. That also is the only reason that I'm wearing heavy armor when the build of my class is to create range. I suffer a stamina and dodge mechanic debuff in order to wear this, but we'll go over that later, I promise. Each of these knights have their own fighting style and some badass animations. I really felt like I was fighting actual knights when fighting these guys. People don't realize it, but the combat in this game is superb. It really depends solely on the player. We head back to the knight who fled Sir Gawain's court, and she tells us a story of where she met the blood heir, Sir Gawain.
But when he ushered Sir Gawain into the keep, we realized the true heir was lost himself. We were aghast, speechless. The minister reminded us of our sworn duty to the royal bloodline. He told us the sacrifice of becoming lost was noble and right. Then he lined us up and killed us one by one.
Damn. Now that's pretty scary. I wasn't really expecting that. There is something extremely dark about these lost and corrupted enemies in the land of Eternum, so I'm rather interested to see a knightly elite enemy such as Sir Gawain. So we rushed the Blood Heir stronghold fighting off lost knights until we reach Minister Lochner, who's given himself over to the lost and become corrupted. Wow, he was summoning beetles as projectiles? Insane. Please, more Amazon. That was insane. We approach Sir Gawain's throne room for the final battle. Damn, that was a cool fucking fight. Now that's what I'm fucking talking about. If there's more like that to come, I am all the way on board with this. The story continues this way all the way up to level 55 or so, with each quest having a level requirement in order for you to begin, with the max level being level 65 if you've ordered the DLC. In order to level, basically what you really want to be doing is your main quest and side quest, which there are plenty. The side quest will be unlocked when you complete main quests. The thing that will really eat all of your time though is the running. You run here, then you run over there, then you run back only to have to run back some more, and oh wow, look, there's a new side quest in the chain that's all the way across on the other side of the zone. When I think of reasons that I don't feel like playing New World, this is the #1 reason, hands down. Honestly can't think of another one. When you have to run that much, it feels like work, and you can't be fully immersed in whatever storyline you're doing. Yeah, the game offers fast travel stations in the form of way shrines, but when you're a new player, that won't matter because you have to walk to them to unlock them, and you'll mostly be doing the main quest and side quest, which will generally take you near all these way shrines anyway, between 1 and 3 times. So generally, you'll be walking out there anyway, and once you're done out there, you seldom go back with few exceptions. What I actually did was, once I created a new character, I took the time out to walk to each way shrine in the world of Eternum, so that I wouldn't have to waste my time while questing, and the XP from the exploration alone spit me out at level 55. The game just released a new expansion about 2 weeks ago where they introduced a basic mount system. It's been 2 goddamn years, almost 3, since the game came out, and you just introduced mounts? Really, Amazon? That's a basic MMO amenity, and it took you 2 years? And you know what? It's not even about the fact that it took 2 years to release, but you lock it behind a paywall along with a level cap? That's right. You can't be max level unless you pay, and you can't have a mount unless you pay. Sucks to suck. That for me is a quit moment right there. I can't even lie. If I didn't already know about the things this game had to offer prior to that, we would have a quit moment on our hands right now. Think about the new players who just get the game and they spend $40 or whatever it is now, and they expect to be able to play their game to the fullest, but then they're told, oh, you can't wear this unless you pay, or oh, you can't go here unless you pay. That really halts the momentum, let me tell you. Or think of new players who've yet to buy the game and they read that the mounts and max level are locked behind a paywall. That right there is more than enough to get someone to just throw the game aside and move on to the next one. I've seen it happen 100 times personally. I don't want to be told I can't be as strong as someone else unless I buy your expansion. I just don't. None of us do, regardless of if you've bought the expansion or not. Now all of a sudden I'll be less enticed to activate the PvP system, which is something you can switch on or off in towns or safe zones. If there's a guy that's 5 levels above me, which everyone will be now, that's just not something I want to do or be a part of. But that's enough whining out of me for now. Let's check back in with some higher level story quests where we meet another knight, Sir Galahad. Now, the Bright Knight is after our old captain, Captain Thorpe.
It's a relief not to bear the burden of command. Nonetheless, if I reach the outpost and you do not follow soon, I will circle back.
Neither duty nor divine purpose called me from the old world. I sailed into oblivion as master of my own destiny, fearless in my command. And I found here that which I sought, the truth of power, to which I proudly swore my eternal allegiance. I began anew, authority and identity stripped away, embracing inhuman toil and suffering as the path to my return. Time came when I could again prove my prowess in battle. No man nor demon could withstand my newfound might. My domination established, a new destiny earned. The voice of truth pronounced me as champion of our righteous cause. And I led our armies to victory again and again. The remnants of ragged humanity crushed along the way. To bring me here, to the precipice of my ultimate achievement. The forces of this world and those beyond, now under my command.
Guess he didn't die back then, which makes sense because everyone becomes immortal when they reach Eternum, which makes me wonder about how's aging work? Seems that our old captain, Thorpe, has become the #1 lackey of the main villain, Isabella. He appears before us to issue orders as if he's still our captain.
Where was your captain until you betrayed me on the sea? Now I have one final order. Walk away. Disobey me, and you will be destroyed.
The road, after completing a few trials in order to get closer to Thorpe, leads us to what looks like the literal gates of hell, where Thorpe is waiting.
defied my orders. This is the price you pay. The gate opens to welcome our allies from beyond, and with them, your doom.
We take it upon ourselves to go without our comrades down into hell and confront whatever awaits.
But that would seem to be venturing into the literal gates of hell.
We get down there and look at this scene. This is some grim, evil stuff. The fight is intense, and this abhorrent tentacle demon thing is doing some big damage. I end up dying about 4 times here. I actually perform a tactical retreat in order to get some new gear. So I head back to the trade post and buy whatever the best upgrades I can afford are and make my way back to the gates of hell. Look at us, we're really looking badass now, right? We run past the Crying Maiden trap directly to the first point of attack. Once victorious, we regroup with our allies who tell us there is no time, and we're ordered to attack Captain Thorpe's camp directly as we're clearly the strongest one there and have the best chance at defeating Thorpe. Everyone else is to keep reinforcements off of us.
I will not tolerate your bullheaded arguments this time. I'm ordering you to go south and attack Thorpe's camp before reinforcements arrive.
When I get there, someone else is also there to fight Thorpe, and it seems he's an overworld public boss, so he gets destroyed rather easily. But I can't lie, Thorpe was going absolutely crazy. I could see how alone that might be a challenge. Amazon really went all in with their boss fights. The story doesn't end here either. It continues a good while after this into entirely new zones with completely different biomes, including an Asian-inspired mountainous zone and an endgame Egyptian desert zone. Now, a lot of the endgame stuff is group content, so you really want to either have your friends with you or join a guild, in which there are plenty. The game even includes a faction system that dictates who you can be in a guild with, as well as who you can fight in PvP. The only way you can fight another player of your same faction is if they agree to a duel. Certain zones may be controlled by a certain faction. Each region has a fort, which is a PvP control point that will provide both territory and global rewards for the controlling faction, leading to large-scale PvP battles. Faction control point rewards are about long-term value and controlling specific locations to earn buffs specific to that location. Controlling a fort will grant the faction a set of standard rewards and a fort-specific unique reward, such as an experience boost in that zone or a housing tax deduction, respectively. Yep, you heard that right, this game has housing. And the way it works is if you don't pay taxes, you lose it. Each settlement has its own housing plots available to the player with different requirements for ownership, such as zone standing. You gain zone standing and zone standing benefits as you earn EXP and do activities in a certain zone. Professions you can train in New World include weaponsmithing, armoring, engineering, jewel crafting, arcana, cooking, furnishing, smelting, woodworking, leatherworking, logging, mining, fishing, music, weaving, stone cutting, harvesting, tracking and skinning, or writing, provided you have the DLC for it. Okay, the cash shop. Now the cash shop has cosmetics basically of any kind you can think of. They sell EXP potions, and they also sell you tokens that you need in order to transmog your gear. This to me is the most shameless thing ever. I respect them not having pay to win, but you're gonna make me pay for transmogs in a game where you can look really, really, really bad really easily? Let me tell you, it's just, There are other ways you can get these tokens, such as the season pass that they have, but the tokens are really far into the season pass unless you pay for the premium reward track. And from what I've experienced, you can't just knock out season pass tiers like so many Skittles. It takes a while and it takes effort. You won't just complete it by doing your story, that's for sure. But of course, this is Amazon, so you can just purchase the tiers outright. New World has a system called the Expertise system that affects your in-game gear score. Expertise refers to your minimum gear score of a particular item. The Expertise system starts once you hit level 60. At that point, you will need to increase your expertise in each type of armor, weapon, and jewelry to 600. You will do so through loot drops and the gypsum system. For example, if you have a helmet that has a gear score of 500 and you kill a mob that drops a helmet with a gear score of 510, 510 is your new expertise for your helmet slot. Each type of item, including weapons, armor, and jewelry, has its own expertise, with the exception of armor weight categories that all share the same expertise for their respective slots. A great way to increase your expertise is via the gypsum system, because crafting a gypsum cast will guarantee an expertise boost for your chosen gear slot. Gypsum, like everything else, besides transmog tokens, can be acquired through in-game activity. So gear weight. Depending on the weight of your collective armor, you will be able to perform one of 3 different dodge animations. At the heaviest, you will be limited to a stubby shuffle. At medium armor weight, you will be able to perform a short hop. At the lightest division of armor weight, you will be able to perform an action roll. Clever system all in all, makes you really plan out what kind of combination you'll have when it comes to that armor and protection. How about we take a read of a few reviews then? They're mostly positive, with 231k players reviewing the game. Please do not consider playing a game where the players are not important enough to be given a proper explanation to bans. My mother, who is 65 plus, received a ban for cheating. She plays it like a house decoration game, gathers minerals, and goes on chest runs, like a 3D version of Stardew Valley. No PvP, no chat, no company. It's like a house that looked nice and had good bones, but it's actually falling apart while the caretaker prioritizes landscaping instead of replacing the walls, floor, roof, windows, doors, etc. I called out some dude selling overpriced bags in global chat and started telling people how to find better prices in trade post by viewing all territory prices in top right of trade post menu, and his entire company and guild said that they were mass reporting me and I got a 24-hour automated ban for abusive behavior. I wish I was making this up. Literally 24 hours ban for helping players not get scammed. Too many bugs, too many balance issues, too many lies. I regret my life choices. It's adult RuneScape and I love it. A near perfect casual MMO. I understand the problems people have with this game, but most of the negative reviews here are people trying to turn this game into their second full-time job or something. So yeah, if you're one of those lucky people with 50 hours to spare a week to put into this game, I can see how you would have a lot of thoughts on the current state of the game. However, if your life only allows a few hours a week or weekend play and you're looking to scratch that MMO itch, this is your game. Combat is unique and the slice of life content this game offers is second to none. Great game, worth a buy. I bought the game when it first came out and stopped playing after about a week or so. I put about 15 hours into it and TBH found the game a bit boring and confusing. I'm over 60, so I get confused easily. I came back in September and I'm hooked. I've never done an expedition or a raid and I don't PvP. My character is up to level 60, so the game is solo player friendly. Now I'm working on my crafting skills and I've got a new character on a fresh start server in order to experience the new starting story, which is great so far. I had to wait about 10 minutes in a queue, but it was on day 1, so that's to be expected. I think it's one of the better MMO games I've played over the years, and I've played quite a few. It feels a bit weird that there are taxes in an MMO created by Amazon. Still can't find Lumbridge, but some friendly players gave me directions to Varrock. 10 out of 10. Thumbs up simply for the lack of microtransactions, pay to win or pay to progress. This is what an MMO is all about. Working for stuff, not swiping a credit card. Well, I do have to agree. As a person who played RuneScape way back since it was called Devious MUD, the RuneScape comparisons are kinda spot on, but I wouldn't mention New World questing and RuneScape questing in the same sentence, that's for sure. I mean, the world wakes, Sliskay's endgame, Monkey Madness, come on. Whenever I come back to New World, it's always a fun time. The combat is so refreshing, it's really unlike any other game out there. Probably the most impactful combat system that I know of. You can really feel like a rapier-wielding musketeer or a shield-brandishing bright knight in this world. It's just all the running that will really break up your immersion while questing, though. Even the graphics are stunning with vistas that are to die for. You get set on so many long treks that your mind begins to wander elsewhere while the game is just on auto-run. And this world is bigger than it looks, that much is for sure. It's rather impressive, actually. Granted, a lot of structures are recycled. Amazon went so far as to just copy-paste entire subzones, and it's just mad. Not to mention how about half the enemies in the game are not even reskins, but just the same enemies altogether. The lost and corrupted enemies, not to mention the pirate enemies, are just repeated throughout the world of Eternum on so many occasions. Which I understand, but did they really all need to be wearing the same clothes? Still though, I get it, it fits. The corrupted and the lost are generally a plague on the entire land of Eternum, so it would make sense for them to be in more places than not. I get that. But if it was me on that dev team, I know for sure I could figure out a way to easily differentiate those reused assets. I'm not sure about how many players are on the base game launcher right now, but on Steam we have about 17k people, which is pretty good for it being 7 AM on Christmas Day. So the game world is definitely not dead, that's for sure. And that's to say nothing about the towns and how the NPCs just kinda sit in one spot, and without the traffic of players constantly throughout, I do have to say this place wouldn't be that interesting to the eye. Generally though, the towns come alive because of the player base. Although you take pretty bad FPS hits while in these towns. The game also features dungeons, even if they are scarce. Big ones with all sorts of mechanics as well. You want some good gear before entering. In order to enter them, you need a sort of key which can be earned through in-game play. Only one person in the party needs to possess a key for the dungeon. So let's go over a few pros and cons then. Pros. Gorgeous game world. Enjoyable combat. Solo leveling. No forced PvP. A classless character system. Has crafting and gathering. Housing system. True open world. True MMO. Zero pay to win. Cons. Walking simulator. Basic questing. Paywalled mechanics. Bots. Tedious gear up system. Low amount of dungeons. Repetitive in-game. So, is New World a bad game? No, it's actually quite fun. But there are many things that can break your immersion, like, say, not being able to transmog or have a mount without paying. In a game where you already want to tab out because you have to auto-run for 1500 feet. I'll regularly end up tabbing out while running back and forth to different quests, and a lot of the times when I tab back in, I can physically feel the veil of immersion slipping away. But hey, let's be honest, in the grand scheme of things, that's not saying much, because the lore behind this game is vast, and it draws upon many comparisons to actual history. So if history is something that you're interested in or interested in learning about, this game can be a treasure trove with all its bits of information left about by the colonists. I've actually learned a bit about history just by playing this game. When people who haven't played this game see it, I can understand how they might feel or think it's boring or something or other. The player character is not a glowing deity or a brilliant angel casting impossible magic, hitting for millions of damage or anything like that. This one is more or less based in reality and just that much more simple, and it works. This world of chivalrous knights and undaunted berserkers is a world rich in lore with many mysteries to uncover, should you be willing to uncover them. So hey, what do you guys think of the game? You guys playing New World? You think it's good? Well, whether you love the game or despise it, I hope from the bottom of my heart that you guys are enjoying yourselves out there in this golden age of MMOs. Hey guys, Blaine Blast here. Thanks for checking out my video, I really appreciate that. I couldn't even tell you how much it means. I hope you guys got even a little bit of enjoyment out of this one, and I hope to see you in the next one. Blame Blast out.